Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you a video talking about the Jeepers Creepers films. A couple horror movies that came out during the 2000s leading up to the one-night release of Jeepers Creepers 3 tonight. Also, there's going to be like an encore showing, I guess, on October 4th. So these are two horror flicks I seen quite a few years ago. I do own both of them. I have the first one right here. Excuse me. I have the first one right here. I really like the cover to this. I might get a Blu-ray sometime. I'll show the back of it. And then I also do own the second. Kind of a cool cover too, in my opinion. But so Jeepers Creepers. Before we get into I'm not gonna go into like great detail about both of the movies. I just sort of want to give my general thoughts on them. But before we get into that at all, we should probably address the elephant in the room, I suppose. A very unfortunate and walking on eggshells elephant, but something that we have to discuss nonetheless. And that is of the director Victor Salva. There's been this great, immense, and very large controversy, with Jeepers Creepers 3 coming out, tied back to, his unfortunate, very unfortunate and disgusting mistake with a younger actor, in one of his films. I forget if it was a film he was doing in the 80s or 90s. But with with that, there have been many people within the horror industry, many fans, just protesting it, saying don't support this, and all the actors that are working with him on it, are accepting what he did and everything like that, and just taking money for money's sake. It's like I said, it's kind of like a walking on eggshells thing to talk about. But let me say, it's just completely awful that he did anything like that at all. And if I heard today that someone like the Punisher showed up and killed him, I wouldn't really have any issues with that. But I seen these movies years ago before I knew about anything that he had done. In certain ways, I do feel weird still owning these movies. In certain ways, I do feel bad, having tickets to Jeepers Creepers 3 tonight. But I don't know. I don't want to defend the guy. I don't want to excuse his actions. They're inexcusable. And like I said, if the Punisher showed up and killed him for it, so be it. But it was 30 years ago, and again, I'm not making an excuse with that. So I'm trying to believe the best here, I guess. Like the very least, maybe he's. If you believe people change, I don't know if you do or not. But I'm certainly not the same person I was, 5 years ago. I can't imagine what I'm going to be like 30 years from now. So I'm hoping at the very least he's changed, or he's felt like a piece of shit. He probably still does to this day, and he's become a better person. Like you see in the interview with the guy who plays the Creeper, and he says he got to know him as a person before he even found out about any of what he did, and he believes he's definitely not the same man he was 30 years ago, from what he heard. Again, we don't know the guy. We don't know what mental shit he went through over it. I'm not trying to create a pity party for him or anything, but I'm just at the very least again hoping that maybe he's learning. He's been greatly affected by it. I don't want to make the whole video about this. There's just so many angles to it, so many ways you agree with but not agree with, and the one, I can respect and understand why people don't support his movies at all anymore and why they're not going to see it. I get it. But for me, it was, even now, it's not about, if I'm seeing the movie tonight, Jeepers Creepers 3, I'm not going to support Victor Salva. It doesn't mean that I support, pedophiles or anything like that, okay? That's where I think people take it a little bit too far. They say anyone who's like a fan of his work at all, or who wants to see a movie of his at all, supports pedophiles. That's a bit much. Like for me, I'm a huge horror movie fan. I love horror films. It's a passion of mine. And I just really like the Creeper as a monster. As a horror figure. I've said before that I think the Creeper is one of the few like monsters or like horror characters nowadays that can actually compare it all to like the classics of Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy, stuff like that. I feel like he's one of the only unique creatures from this generation that can stack up at all. That actually feels like more of an original creation and not just another copycat. So I just find the Creeper to be very entertaining and interesting to watch. So that's what it's about for me. I'm not supporting like any like weird underlying themes that people see in these movies. I'm not supporting what the guy did, nothing like that. I'm just supporting the horror film. And people do say that, oh, but that means you're giving what he did a pass, and you think it's okay. No. But again, you could talk about this all day. Really go back and forth about it. Once again, it's just fucking despicable what he did. I'm not denying that at all. But I don't know, this is life, and he's still around, so hopefully at the very least he's learned a fucking lesson or two, and he's I know he's at least a little bit different. That's all you really know how to say about it, I guess, but please don't condemn me or report me or just thumb down my video, but these movies aren't about that for me. They're just about enjoying a horror movie. I'm sorry. But anyway, why don't we actually talk about this? I'm not going to make the video too much longer. But as far as the movies themselves, which is, still the point of the video, I really liked the first Jeepers Creepers film. Like I said, I had seen it years ago and a couple other times over the years. Again, love Discover. And I've already said my praise for the Creeper himself. I just think he's like one of the only like original creations of this generation that actually stands up to like the 80s and 90s killers, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I just felt like the first Jeepers Creepers film had a really good like atmosphere and tone to it. I liked like how the fog was used, the lighting at night. It just felt very creepy, very eerie. I really liked the feel of it, like I said. It felt a little bit darker, a little bit more self-serious than the second film does. I thought Gina Phillips made for a good sort of final girl. I think she's a little bit better acting-wise than your typical final girl in a horror movie. Hope we see her again in the series. It sounds like we will. And Justin Long I thought was fairly likable as well, and I liked their chemistry as brother and sister. I like that. And like I said, I think Jonathan Breck, who plays the Creeper, he does a pretty good job as well, from the stunt work and everything like that. And there's this great sequence in the police station towards the end of the film that I think is just really, really intense and really awesome to watch, when the Creeper's just like crawling through the ceilings and everything like that, and just picking off all the officers. It's really cool. And then when he flies off with Justin Long's character at the end, it's kind of a surprising ending. A lot of times you don't see the monster or the killer win, but this is one of them where he actually kind of does. And just where he, the wings come out for the first time, and he flies out the window with them. It's just a really memorable moment, I think. So yeah, I actually really like the first Jeepers Creepers film. It didn't hold up like quite as well when I watched it a few months back, or like maybe like a year ago. I forget when I last watched it. But I still think it's a really solid horror flick. If I had to rate it just off of memory, I haven't watched it in a bit, like I said, but if I had to rate it just off of memory, it would probably be like a B+. I do like it that much. So yeah. Jeepers Creepers 2. Not as good as the first one. It's dropped down a couple levels, I think. I think there's still entertainment value to be had in here, though. But at the same time, it doesn't have that same tone I was praising from the first. It doesn't have that same feel in the setting or anything like that. Though I do like the initial setup of these people on the school bus, being picked off as the Creepers flying around and just showing up at random. I do like that, but like I said, it's a little bit less self-serious. It doesn't quite have the creepy tone of the first. It feels a little bit more B movie-ish, I guess. But like I said, there's still entertainment value to be had. I do like Ray Wise, or Wise, sorry if I mispronounced his name. He's a fairly, solid actor to bring into it. I think I also hope we see him again. And, so it's just not as memorable to me as the first, but it's definitely not the worst, horror sequel I've seen either. I still think it's fairly entertaining. And if I had to rate this one off of memory, it would probably be maybe a B-. I still do like it. Maybe a C+ at the lowest. But so those are kind of sort of my brief thoughts on both of the Jeepers Creepers films so far. I am seeing the third one tonight with my girlfriend, so that should be pretty good. Third one does look to be a little bit more low budget than the first two, which I'm not really surprised by. But I still am kind of looking forward to it, actually, and it sounds like a fourth film may be happening as well. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Jeepers Creepers films, what are your expectations for the third one, and maybe even your thoughts about what we talked about at the beginning of the video, But that's all we civil here, and, not really throw everyone under the bus no matter what. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.